Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of August 25th. This week, you have this King card. It says authority and diplomacy. You have the Serpent card. It says a sly and subtle approach is needed. Yeah, both those cards basically say the same thing. Like authority and diplomacy can definitely represent having a more like subtle approach to whatever it is that you're doing or working on or whatever you're working towards this week, right? Everybody has had the tower this week. I kid you not, Taurus. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of global tower moment. I wouldn't even worry about it. You have the star right after it. This is definitely a good thing when we have the tower to the star because, the star comes up after the tower. The star can represent healing from a tower moment. And, you're the second sign that has had the star after the tower as well. So, maybe it's not that big of a deal, or maybe, maybe there's some sort of like collective healing in a sense going on this week, which definitely could be possible. We are a little bit in a time of healing, especially that Chiron retrograde in Aries. It's kind of like, I think it is the last time or one of the last times that Chiron goes retrograde in Aries. And, Chiron has been in Aries, it feels like forever. And, definitely I think people need to heal. Plus, I think what makes it harder is South Node and Virgo, right? So it's almost like double healing energy in the astrology. And, I think there's a lot of stuff. Also, Neptune and Pisces as well. Neptune is not in Pisces yet, but it is retrograding from Aries back into Pisces. I don't know, just like a lot of healing energy at once, right? You have you show up here, Taurus, right up at the top. So whenever you show up as yourself, this puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So, again, I feel pretty good about this. I'm not really feeling much here. I do feel that, again, you have that authority and diplomacy card. So, I do feel that both of those cards are basically saying the same thing. A sly, subtle approach is needed. So it might be a good week for you to be more diplomatic. It might be a good week for you to be more, to like not take sides in work, for example, and things like that. Just something to pay attention to. I don't think this is going to be an energy that lasts. I think it just, right now it's kind of like saying, be subtle about the moves that you're making. Maybe what it's really saying is like, don't tell people about the moves that you're making, just make them and let them see the result. I would pay attention to that as well. You have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups can represent being spoiled for choice. I do feel pretty good about this. I go back and forth on the Seven of Cups. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And in your reading, I do like it. I think that you are kind of opening up to different options. It's almost like you are being a little bit more flexible here, Taurus, which I've been saying all year that I think it would be a good year for Tauruses to be more flexible or to do things to be more flexible, whatever the hell that means. And so, definitely something I would think about with the Seven of Cups. I also think it would be a good time for you to face some fears here, but we're not talking about like really actually scary fears here, Taurus, but you have that Serpent, card, which is a snake. Snakes can represent our fears. We have this dragon right here. Dragons are snakes, by the way. And so, they basically kind of represent snakes. They represent fears. Dragons guard gold, right? And so, facing fears leads to our gold is what dragons can sometimes represent. So I feel it would be a good time for you to like maybe face some little fears. Like we're talking about things like, the fear of public speaking, the fear of speaking up at work, the fear of doing something you've never done before, like those types of fears. You have the Ace of Swords, another crazy synchronicity this week. I don't know. It just seems like a week where people are overcoming obstacles. I think almost everyone has had this card. And, I don't know. It's just pretty interesting to me that everybody gets it. And the Ace of Swords, the sword is above the mountains. And so it represents overcoming an obstacle or overcoming a challenge. And so I feel a lot of you could be kind of like overcoming challenges with the Ace of Swords, or there could be some moments this week where you overcome some difficulties or challenges that you've been going through. I wonder if this week is bringing us answers in some ways. One thing I will say is I think technically we are past the Mercury retrograde shadow on the 22nd of August, right? So today is the 19th. This video will be published on the 20th. Obviously this reading is for the 25th. Maybe that's why so many people are getting this stuff, because it's like we're finally past the shadow, we're getting more clarity, so we could be just naturally overcoming obstacles. It could just be a good time for that. Or we could be getting answers based off of obstacles that we were exploring during the Mercury retrograde. There you go. With the Hierophant, you have the Death card. Some of you could be dealing with a Scorpio, by the way. Snake, by the way, we have the Snake, we have the Death card in the Tower, all Scorpio. And we have Scorpio right here as well. This is an eagle or a phoenix, whichever you prefer. I don't care. And, that is also Scorpio. Traditionally, Scorpio was the eagle. Scorpio is the eagle, phoenix, snake, and the scorpion. So there you go. But, definitely. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups. Whenever a card repeats itself, it's basically the universe saying I meant what I said. So, I think a lot of you are getting a lot of options this week, or could be having a lot of options. I think that, again, facing fear could bring in a little bit of gold for you this week. And it could be something that you're a little, I really think this has to do with releasing control. I'm not saying that you're controlling or anything here, Taurus, but I do feel that maybe, letting go of a little bit of control over something could be very, even profitable for you, like in work and business and, pretty much anything else. So, I think it would be worth it, is what I feel like saying there. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Ten of Wands. Yes, Ten of Wands is carrying a heavy burden. He's carrying this heavy load, and he's trying to get to his home here. Again, personally, I think this is a good card because he's very close to achieving his goal. He is about to, have a harvest. So it's he could be struggling a little bit, but as long as he doesn't give up, he will get his reward, or he will be getting the reward he's hoping for. So I do feel like some of you are kind of very close to achieving a goal or something like that with this card. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you're not going to believe this. It says you're very close to achieving your goal. There you go, Taurus. You have this, nothing will come of this situation. Yeah, whatever you're worrying about with that tower, clearly. So again, this could be like a global tower moment, that's happening. Again, everybody's had the tower. Sometimes I think that these things happen, we worry about them, and nothing happens. It's the way you have to think about the time that we're in right now is Neptune and Pisces. Even though Neptune's in Aries right now, it's retrograding back into Pisces. And it's only going to be there for a short period of time. Next year in January, Neptune leaves Pisces forever. I mean, until, we'll be dead the next time that Neptune is back in Pisces, but, until whenever that is. But the thing about Neptune and Pisces is it is like the bread and circus. It is the, the kind of, where there is these illusions being put on in the world that are a distraction. There you go, right there, right? And we have to really pay attention. So, I would just pay attention, but can't make this up. Literally says you're very close to achieving your goal. I was saying that. You have the tower. By the way, you have the world right next to the tower. The tower with the world can just be a move. So there you go. But you have the tower, the star, and the Queen of Swords in the area of what's coming in for you. The tower can also bring great clarity. Now, and the thing about the Queen of Swords, she's also great clarity. So the whole point of the tower is that these people have been building these walls up around them too high, and they've been ignoring reality. And now they're being forced to come down to reality. But I do feel a little bit of acceptance here. Again, it feels to me like you are it's I think you've given up in a good way. I don't mean you've really actually given up, right? That's not what I'm saying. It's sometimes I think we are just stubborn. I mean, I do this all the time. So it's I don't know. I'm not criticizing you or anything here, Taurus, but it's sometimes I make my mind up on how I think something should work in my life, right? And I refuse to see that there are, other ways to do things. And, eventually I get to the point where I realize the way that I think I should do things isn't working. And then once I, give up in that sense and I try other things, then it works, whatever I'm doing, right? And that's kind of the feeling I get here, where it's maybe you're, maybe giving up isn't the right word. It's but you're just being more flexible, which I think would be good, Taurus. You have the star. The star can represent your focus. Now, one thing I will say is we're in a great week for healing. So the star is a great card for resting, relaxing, recovering, healing, having hope for the future and things like that. So any healing you can do would be a really good idea. I also think that, the star is blessings, of course, and, it's also a very good card to get after the Tower, because it can say that you are letting go, or you're kind of like healing from a Tower moment. So a lot of you could be clearly moving past a Tower moment here. You have the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can be a card of seeing things clearly for the first time. So like I said, I feel a lot of you could absolutely be seeing something clearly for the first time. You know, she only has clouds halfway up her body on this card, and again, it just means that she is seeing something clearly for the first time. And she has her hand up, like she's willing to receive, but she also has her sword up, right? And you have the Ace of Swords right next to it. But, you know, it kind of says she is cautiously optimistic. And this is where this flexibility is coming in for you here, Taurus. Like, I feel like you're finally maybe being, it's like you're cautiously optimistic. It's like maybe you're willing to accept other ideas in, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish here. But you're being cautiously optimistic, which is fine. With the Tower, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, this could be like a destined thing that's going on here. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny, but the Wheel of Fortune is your destiny how you see it. It is your personal vision for your life. It's not necessarily what the universe thinks your destiny is. How crazy is it that there's a snake right here, and we were talking about the snakes? Definitely, I think, facing some fears. Like I said, the little fears would be a good thing for you to do with the Wheel of Fortune, but, you know, it could be a change in your fortunes. With the Star, yes, you have the World, which we have twice here. We go from the World up to the World in the Justice card here. So some of you could be just having, you know, reaching some sort of accomplishment or having some sort of accomplishment here with this energy, which would be good, of course. You know, some of you could be thinking about moving. You know, this is also good for like how you stand out in the world and, you know, what kind of attention you get. With the Queen of Swords, you have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles, like, work hard, play hard. And, you know, so again, you could be doing a lot of like work at this time, which is good. I don't feel much here other than like work. So a lot of you could be just working on, you know, projects, businesses, ideas. I think all that would be good for you. But I do feel like a very busy week here, Taurus. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you have this Inspire card and this Receive card. With the Star is all about being an inspiration. You know, with the Star, the one great thing we can do with that Star energy is be a star in the world. Like, do things to stand out in the world. Do things to inspire other people. We have Pluto in Aquarius, and, you know, I think one of the most spiritual things all of us can do is be an inspiration, which means all we have to do is just go do something hard in life, you know, something that's a little bit of a challenge or slightly challenging, and, you know, see what you can accomplish, see what you can do. And if you do that and you inspire other people to do something, then you are working spiritually. You have the Justice card in the World. So again, a lot of you could be just having an accomplishment at this time. Having the Justice card twice is pretty good. Or having the World twice, sorry, is good. It can definitely be an accomplishment or an achievement coming in for you. The Justice card is balance. And it's also about like taking a neutral perspective. So again, if you're getting any ideas this week, I think being flexible would be super, super beneficial for you here, Taurus. Like, instead of just assuming, like, if someone comes to you with an idea in work or business, instead of being like, oh, that can't work, just see what would happen, right? Same thing with any other ideas that pop into your head or that you're getting. Is like, instead of saying, oh, this can't work or this definitely will work, I think it would be better to, you know, be more like practicing non-attachment and just saying, I'm just going to see how, I'm going to invest in this with a little bit of energy. I'm just going to see how it goes, right? And instead of thinking that things have to be all good or all bad, right? And I don't know, it just is popping into my head as very important. Some of you could be traveling suddenly. You know, there could be some sort of travel here, Taurus. It feels, with the Tower, you know, it could be kind of like quickly, or like maybe you just, it's coming out of nowhere, kind of. You know, sometimes when I get readings like this, I also feel that this could be saying that there's like going to be an opportunity that pops up randomly that you should be taking. So, you know, for travel. Next, you have this Six of Cups. Six of Cups can be a turnaround. Six of Cups can say that you've been bumping up against obstacles. And, you know, it's kind of like a gift from the universe. Now, this isn't like the traditional meaning of the card, but every once in a while, I feel like this card is really talking about overcoming some sort of obstacle. The Six of Cups can also represent innocence and nostalgia. It can represent childlike energy. And again, I think this is pushing you towards being more playful or taking a more playful approach to life here, Taurus. Instead of like thinking like, oh, this has to go, this has to work this way, like whatever you're working on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's encouraging that flexibility. Children aren't afraid of, asking questions and asking why and all that other stuff. Sometimes I also feel that this little girl here has this like oven, it almost looks like an oven mitt on her hand. But sometimes I feel that the Six of Cups with that oven mitt thing is saying, like, don't be afraid of, like, breaking things. Not that you are going to be breaking things, but I do feel like it's saying, like, don't be afraid of being that bull in a china shop, right? It's like if you're working on something, it's like sometimes we have to make mistakes to, figure out what really, really works. You know what's really funny? I'll tell you something, Taurus. I'm taking a class every single Monday night, and based off of a hobby I have. And, so this hobby I've been watching videos on for years, right? And I've been practicing at home. But it's like when the rubber meets the road, like when I'm in class, it's like I realize like all these things that don't work. that other people say work, right? So it's like I've had to break what I've learned over years. Like I've had to break it to figure out what really works. And, that's kind of popping into my head here with this card. It's like sometimes it's like until you're actually doing something for real, it's like it's like you can learn all day long what other people tell you will work. But until you actually do it, it's like you don't know what works. So I feel like, but again, we have to be willing to break things. We have to be willing to make mistakes. Mistakes are not a bad thing, right? And I kind of feel that's what that's saying. You have the Hangman. We are in a time of new perspectives. Hangman has been coming up like crazy. So, again, I think it's a great time for you to learn new things, a great time to explore new ideas. All that stuff would be great for you, Taurus. With the World and the Justice card, you can't make this up. You have the Tower again, which is pretty funny. So, again, definitely, I think there definitely could be some sort of global Tower moments going on. Just seems to be one of those weeks. Like I said, everybody's had the Tower. With the Six of Cups, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, working together with other people would be really good for you as well as a fixed sign, Taurus. I think, with Pluto and Aquarius, which is the collective, anything you can do to get other people to help you or assist you or, even you don't even have to work together with another person. Just, having an accountability partner, a person to reach out to, any of that stuff would be excellent. So I think, doing all that stuff is a good idea. With the Hangman, you have the Nine of Wands. I think, I feel like you could almost be getting a second chance here. I wouldn't normally say that, but this is giving me the vibes of you. It's like you've been working on something. Let me just tell you what I'm getting. I feel like for those of you that have been working on something for a very long period of time, the Hangman would be you seeing another way of doing it. And so it's almost like back to the drawing board, which I normally wouldn't say on that card again. You have the Six of Swords, which right next to it. And Six of Swords is sometimes my card that says you're going back to a drawing board or you're like revisiting something or you're kind of reimagining something here with that Six of Swords, right? And so it wouldn't really surprise me if some of you were kind of like going back to a drawing board here or, something like that. It's like you're getting a second chance. It feels like work to me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So if you are having to like redo something or, go back over something, but, here's the thing is I think it'll be worth it, Taurus, so I would do it. Next in the area of the good stuff, you have this Joy and Healing card, Star card. The Star card is the card of hope, faith, and renewal. But, like, we have to put ourselves in that energy, right, of hope, faith, and renewal to renew. So we have to do things to renew ourselves, and I definitely would. You have this Sage card that says Heart's Desires Manifesting. Yes, I mean, the past 6 million readings that I've done for you, Taurus, have been all about following your heart, except for this one. No Queen of Cups in this reading yet, Taurus. How funny is that? But, I think that a lot of you have been, clearly like the main focus for you for a long time has been your heart. You have the Fool, the Five of Cups, and the Six of Swords. The Fool is about taking a leap of faith in a new direction. I don't think this is a new direction. I think I do. I think you're taking something in a new direction with that Hangman card, like I said. So it's like maybe you've been working on something for a long time and you're just kind of shifting it a little bit over here. Again, you don't even have to restart something. I think this is just like, just shifting something a little bit. And yeah, I feel that'll be very beneficial for you here, Taurus, so I would. I also feel a lot of you could be like, if you have been feeling stuck, I don't know, I feel pretty good about this Fool. I mean, the Fool is a fine card, but I never really get that excited about the Fool. But I do feel if you've been feeling stuck for a while, that you really could be getting unstuck here. Like anything where you've been frozen, but like specifically frozen looking for answers is what's popping into my head. And, it's like the answers that you've been hoping for are going to be coming in for you. And, this could be bringing a lot of clarity into your life, which is great. The other thing is like, I think your intentions are going to be very important at this time, Taurus. Like the reason you're doing something is going to be very important, like the intentions behind it. So I think you need to make sure that you have pure intentions in whatever it is you're working on. You have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups can be regrets and sadness, but it can also represent, he's sad. He's grieving the loss of something he no longer enjoys. And the solution to the card is that he has to be grateful for these 2 cups, and then he'll get this bridge and this castle. But, this card is coming up in the good stuff. And I feel that obviously in the good stuff, this card would represent you attracting things that you can be grateful for. The other thing I'm getting here is, now sometimes I feel that the Five of Cups can say that you can't save a drowning person. Now that's not true. At any time I say this, someone tells me about all their lifeguard certifications. Great. We are speaking figuratively here. I am broadcasting to a billion freaking people, right? So I'm speaking figuratively. I'm telling a story. Right? So if you don't understand that, I don't know, go somewhere else. But what I would say here is that you can't save a drowning person, right? And it's popping into my head that some of you, it's like, I'm not saying you're like cutting a relationship out, but I do feel like some of you are saying to yourselves, like, I can't save this particular person in my life anymore. And like I said, I don't even think you're cutting anyone out. I think you're just like going to, tell them that they need to save themselves. So I don't know, it's popping into my head. You have the Six of Swords. Yeah, moving on to calmer shores. Definitely back to the drawing board energy here as well, Taurus. So if you're doing anything, like redoing anything or reworking anything, I think this is a really excellent card for you to get at this time. With the Fool, you have the Five of Cups. Again, I think you're moving in a new direction. I really get the feeling here, Taurus, that some of you could be kind of releasing dead weight. It's like if something has been holding you back or getting in your way, you could be releasing it. Here you go. With the Five of Cups, you have the Judgment card. Judgment and Tower is the most powerful combination in the tarot right here. This represents like a major wake-up call, a major revelation, an aha moment, things like that. So, I do really love this combination, the Tower and to Judgment, because, again, like I said, it can definitely be like a major wake-up call, a sudden understanding, getting answers, things like that. With the Six of Swords, you have the Five of Swords. Yeah, I don't think you're giving up on something. I wouldn't. Like, I feel like the reading is saying don't give up on something you're working on. And so, again, if something isn't working as you want it to, I feel like this is saying you just haven't figured it out yet. You're very close, And I really feel like I need to say that you shouldn't give up as well, Taurus, especially for those of you that have been working towards something for a long time. I feel like you're very close. It's like sometimes we just have to keep trying. I know it's not a good answer. I know, but that's really what I feel is going on here with the Five of Swords. I also feel, again, I really, really feel that it would be an amazing week for you to focus on your fears, Taurus. Not as in, like, don't focus on them as in create fears. I think it's like saying focus on fears that you can overcome, like work on that. You have this Arrow card. It says you're on the right path regarding some aspect of your life, clearly. So, this I think is very good. I would stay focused. The Arrow card is a great card of focus. You have this basket. It says recognition, reward for merit, star, world. With a star in the world, we can be a star in the world. We can be getting attention. But again, we have to do things to make that happen. And sometimes we have to, it's like we might have to do things to stand out. So, don't be afraid of standing out. You have this target. It says a goal-oriented person. I think this is you. The star always reminds me of having a goal because the star is like having a North Star. It is having a guiding light. It is having that one thing that you aim at, that one thing that you reach out, that you look at to accomplish, right? And so I think that the more focus, and this has come up for you before, and you have the arrow card, and you have to aim your arrow at one thing to accomplish it, right? So I think having something to aim at, like a goal, would be a good idea. You have this August card and this box card. It says you will receive a gift. We have however many days left in August, whatever. And so, again, there could be some sort of gift. We said this on the Six of Cups. The gift could be a turnaround. It could be you removing obstacles or whatever. You have this feather. It says, someone you know is undependable and insincere. I would be very careful of people like this right now. I've been saying this for over a year now because we had Mars retrograde in Leo last year. We had Mercury go retrograde in Leo, almost in exactly the same spot this year. Next year, we have Jupiter will go into Leo very shortly, and it will be retrograding back into Cancer. And so, again, it's weird that we have like 3 planets in a row basically retrograding in almost the same spot, almost. And, I think sometimes when that happens, it brings back the energy of the original retrograde. So I think Mars retrograde is always a bad time for undependable, insincere people. I would just pay attention. But this looks really good, Taurus. I like this a lot. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.